Don't Starve Together is a survival game where the only real goal is not to die. Now, how do you not die, you may ask? Well, it's very simple. Just don't let your health hit 0. In this randomly generated world, there are lots of ways that you can die, but if you survive long enough and have the time and resources, you can go and kill one of the many bosses in the world. Now, because I'm an Omega gamer, and I have like 2,000 hours in this game, survival is easy for me. So in this video, we're going to be killing every single boss in the game without much dilly-dallying around. It all starts with creating our own new world. Now, there are lots of world settings you can change to make it easier for yourself, but we're not going to do that, other than make the world smaller so that I don't have to run around as much, and it reduces the RNG of the run. Now, there are lots of characters you can choose in Don't Starve Together, but I chose the big Russian man Wolfgang because when he has a full belly, he does double damage. Now, double damage is kind of a big deal, especially given that this game is balanced to be a multiplayer and I'm here soloing all the bosses. So, you know, double damage is going to come in helpful. Now, this game heavily relies on its crafting system, so you know what we're going to do for the first few days? Gather materials. There are tons and tons of materials that I'm going to need to set up a little base and then go out and start killing bosses. Oh, hey, looky here, I found Chester. Now, Chester, this is the eye bone that spawns Chester, and Chester is basically a mobile chest, so he holds items for me, so this will be good for a gathering. But first, what is this? My screen is turning dark. So in this game, there are day-night cycles, and if you stay out in the dark without a light source, you're not going to have a pleasant time. Basically, there's a night creature that deals a whole lot of damage, and you can't tank the creature because she does way too much damage. So long story short, I will always need a light source when it is nighttime. Next, I found a piece of rock that resembles a nose, kind of. So I'll actually need this later on to spawn one of the groups of bosses that I need to fight. And holy moly, what are the chances? I found another piece of rock that I need to find to spawn the before-mentioned boss. Now, much like the meteor destroyed all the dinosaurs, I'm going to absolutely wipe out this biome and steal all of its gold. You see, gold is very important, and we're going to need a bunch of it. What is this? 2 sleeping robots? Well, I'm just going to steal one of these gears. We'll need that for later. So right here, I find the next piece of rock that I had to find, and so we'll keep note of its location. So you know how I said this was a crafting game? So I just put down and built a science machine, which basically just unlocks more crafting recipes. And we have stopped in this forest because we have found an evil tree and it must be exterminated. No, just kidding, but he drops a rare kind of logs which we'll actually need, like they're actually essential for the run. So yeah, we gotta grab those, chop that poor tree down and dig him up. And now I'm going to commit, haven't paid rent in time. This pig's house, man, he didn't pay his rent, so I'm just gonna steal his house. So structures in this game you can knock down with a hammer to get back half the resources that it would have cost to build it. So I just made one of those pigs homeless. And this isn't a one-off, I'm gonna be committing this crime over and over again because pig houses, they give some really good resources, man. What is this? I've been told you have to pull it sharply up. Oh goodness. Oh, I killed it. Man. Yeah, we're gonna need a couple of mandrakes. Man, I'm getting hungry. Oh, I'm sorry. I really want some fresh bacon. I can't believe I've done this. I've turned into such a monster. The second mandrake has been murdered and added to my collection. Knock, knock, is there anyone home? Oh, apparently there's no one in this nest. During these first few days, I will be absolutely slaughtering every single spider and destroying their homes as I go. Not only because they become pests later in the game, but I actually kind of need the silk. And hey, look at that. Let's dig up some mushrooms. We all love doing mushrooms, am I right? What is this? Sorcery? Well, actually, it's not sorcery yet, but we've crafted basically an upgraded version of the science machine, which unlocks even more recipes. So now I have made a bat made of ham so that I can beat people with my meat. After committing California all over this forest, we're just going to chop down the remains because we need a whole lot of charcoal, and this is the only way, so I can't help myself, man. I just need the charcoal. It may look like I'm destroying their homes, but actually I'm saving their homes from a fiery death, and since I have geared myself for war with my handbat and my battle helmet so that I take less damage, I can slaughter 2 pigs at once. Well, actually, I kind of lied. You can see that I'm like dodging their attacks, so you can do that in this game. Most attacks you could just step back to avoid. But you need to time it right. So the armor isn't actually doing anything right now. Wow, these hairy cows sure do look juicy. I better kill some of them. I bet they're gonna give me a bunch of bacon. What a noob, I didn't even dodge the attack, I got hit. More hairy cows, it's time for a feast. Murdering time. Now right here, this is huge. So those 3 rocks that I mentioned before, they could have spawned anywhere in the world, and the map is pretty big, and I found them within the first 5 days, and that right there was the place that I need to bring them all to. So I got extremely lucky, kind of, trying to find all of these. Glommer's statue? We will be coming back here on day 11. Day 11 is when the first full moon will happen, and a lot of goofy, wacky events happen on the full moon. And one of them is that Glommer will spawn. What the heck is that ball? Oh goodness, it's an abomination. Let me just, oh goodness, got hit. Let me just commit thievery and steal its baby. Oh, he's angry because I stole his egg. Let me just, this might make him a little bit mad, but I'm just gonna, oh. I just ate your child. I'm so sorry. It's for survival. Oh, Goose, he broke my helmet. He's getting revenge for me stealing his child and eating him. Also, damn, usually these creatures don't chase you this far. I have made the executive decision that we are going to base here. When I say we, I mean me and Chester. And all of the souls of the bosses that I'm going to kill. Now, base location is kind of important. In general, I want to be near a sinkhole, which is right above my base. And I want to be kind of in the middle of the map so that I can run to everything relatively fast. Speed building time. Come here, little birdie. You are now my prisoner. Get in the cage. So here we've built a bunch of crock pots. They're basically just little ovens. You can put in a bunch of raw ingredients and it will usually make a meal that is better than the sum of all of the components. And also a fridge that makes my food spoil slower. So yeah, in this game, the food that you have to eat to stop from starving, it spoils over time. So yeah. Okay, listen, I'm gonna get pretty lonely in my base, so I'm gonna want 4 pet rabbits. Exactly 4. Into the trap. You fool! You thought I wanted such sentiment as pets? No, no, no. We had to use those rabbits for a recipe, so now we can commit sorcery. I have built a tier 1 magic machine, so I can become maybe as good as Harry Potter. I'm sorry, mandrakes. Daddy needs some pan flutes. So this item is absolutely key for the next boss fight, because what it does is you blow on it after a short animation, it puts everything on the screen to sleep. Or kind of on the screen. Its range isn't very big, but you know, it's big enough. Silly prisoner bird, take my meat. I mean, what? Sorry, I'm force feeding my bird meat, because if you do that, he poops out an egg. And we need eggs for a recipe. Now the reason we're getting these eggs is so we can disappoint Gordon Ramsay by making a nice recipe or maybe a bad one. And what this recipe is pierogi, and it heals you for 40 health, which is huge. It's like one of the best healing foods in the game, so darn right we're going to be using that for most of the boss fights. Did someone say boss fight time? So after clearing out the surrounding bees of this area, we're going to turn on the music first. And then we're going to slap the bee queen's booty to wake her up. Yes, you can call it a booty call, and the fight has begun. The bee queen likes to spawn these minions. So what we're going to do is put the minions to sleep and her to sleep, kill all of the minions except one of them, and then she won't spawn anymore, so I only have to deal with 1 minion. Now this only works for the first phase and there are 4 phases in total, but we'll get to that when we get to the next phase. We have entered the second phase of Bee Queen. So in the second phase, you can see she poops out 2 times the minions. If I kill more than 1 or 2 of the minions, she will just keep spawning more. So the strat now is to just keep putting everything to sleep, getting like 3, 4, maybe 5 hits on Bee Queen, and then repeat, rinse and repeat. So that's why we built 2 pamphlets. Third phase. You'll notice in the third phase, a completely different attack happens, because you saw I just got shredded. Basically, the Bee Queen will intermittently scream, causing her grumblebees to move way faster and attack a lot faster, so they'll just chase you. So the strategy is, when she makes her grumblebees move really fast, I run far away to separate her and her minions. Then I put the minions to sleep, and then I can one-on-one Bee Queen until the grumblebees get back. And then I rinse and repeat. Now that screen right there indicates we have entered the final phase, and the final phase isn't actually that much different than the third phase. In fact, it's exactly the same, other than the fact the Bee Queen will scream a little bit more often. So I have less time to attack her and then eat food to heal up before she'll scream and make her Grumblebees chase me again. Yes, got him. Alright, let me take care of these Grumblebees so I can pick up all of my delicious loot in peace. So, Bee Queen actually drops a blueprint which unlocks a crafting recipe called the Bundling Wrap. The Bundling Wrap is kind of insane. You'll see me use it later on, but what it does is you can package up any 4 stacks of items, including food, and it keeps them in their current state. Meaning, you can bundle up 4 items of food and they will never spoil as long as they're inside the bundling wrap. Hello, hairy cow. There's a reason that you were spared from my wrath earlier. It's because I needed to ride you. Ride you into the sunset. No, you know there's 4 rocks we have to move to that one place I said? Basically, if I try to move them by myself, I will move extremely slowly to the point it's absolutely not worth doing. But if I ride a beefalo, I travel at beefalo speed, which is slightly faster than my speed. So we're going to be using these to move all of the rocks to that one set piece that I pointed out earlier. Kaboom! Night piece has been delivered. And the big rook piece, kind of delivered. He kicks me off right at the last second. Bishop piece delivered, and he blocked me off. Ooh. Wait, look what day it is. Day 11. Good thing we're at Glommer's statue. Full moon tonight. A flower has appeared on his statue. Oh my goodness, it's Glommer. Now, in all of my runs, I always get Glommer only because he's cute. He doesn't actually do anything. But with a recent boss that was added, Glommer is actually kind of not essential, but he's very nice to have because Glommer poops occasionally, and if you eat his poop, it reduces your sanity by a lot, which is a big deal later on. Come, my trusty hair cow, we must now slay a dragon after we get bitten by a ghost storm hound. Please ignore my terrible kiting skills. Alright, it's time for the second boss. Beefalo, it's not safe. Please stay back here. Alright, time to go mighty so I get double damage. And here I'm making lots of backup armor because if I mess up, I don't want to have to craft armor halfway through the fight. There he is, the big bad himself, the Dragonfly. Okay, so this boss hits super duper hard, and you can kite him, but how kiting this boss works is you have to wait for him to start his attack animation before you move, because if you move before his attack animation, he will just slide forward, and if he is moving while he starts his attack animation, he'll continue moving, meaning you can't dodge it. Look at this coward, he's running away! Wait. What are you doing? 3 or 4 times during the fight, he will spawn out larvae, which they set you on fire, they make you take fire damage, and they hit you. Oh, and they can set you on fire, meaning you take even more fire damage. Luckily, I am Wolfgang, so I can kill them in 5 hits. So I can dodge 1 attack, then do 5 hits, and they're dead. Now, unluckily here, I have to deal with 2 larvae at once, which is unfortunate, which just means I'm gonna have to take some damage. But as a safety precaution, I put Dragonfly to sleep. And I put him to sleep just in case he spawned another one while I was trying to deal with the first 2. Anyway, now the fight continues as normal. The second larvae phase. Will this larvae phase be any cleaner than the last? The first one was a clean kill. My beefalo is just hanging out at the edge of the arena. Oh, that's unfortunate. So Dragonfly again spawns 2 larvae from the same pool, which didn't give me a lot of time to deal with one before the other one spawned. And look at that, it happened again. But just there, Dragonfly, after spawning a certain amount of larvae, she'll come after you like normal. So I had to put her to sleep before she hit me so that I could deal with the rest of the larvae. But anyway, the larvae are dealt with. Back to the fight again. This has turned into an ever slightly more dangerous nighttime fight now. Luckily, when the larvae die and when they're alive, they give off a lot of light, so it's not too dangerous. This is a pretty clean larvae phase. He didn't spawn multiple out of the same pool. So right here, I tried to do a neat thing, and I tried to show you what happens if you don't put Dragonfly to sleep when you kill her last larvae. but I messed up and ended up just taking a bunch of damage. And by doing that, I accidentally triggered Dragonfly to just do another larvae spawning phase. But hey, while I deal with these larvae, I'll go into a test world and show you what happens if you do not put Dragonfly to sleep when her last larvae dies. So here we have Dragonfly and her last larvae. So let's just kill the larvae and not put Dragonfly to sleep. Oh goodness. Well, let's look at our health. Oh, wow, that's a lot of damage. Oh, man. So, yeah. This version of Dragonfly moves faster, attacks faster, hits harder, and has an attack that hits 3 times very hard and always sets you on fire. That's why you put her to sleep, so she doesn't become enraged. So after seeing that, definitely gonna put her to sleep, kill the last larvae. Okie dokie. This should be towards the end of the fight now. The last stretch. And the Dragonfly has fallen. Now there is good reason why we did the Dragonfly now, because what we're doing next requires gems, and Dragonfly always drops gems. In fact, he always drops at least 1 of each, and always 2 red gems. So now the race is on. After making some delicious food that will keep me sustained on my trip, we're gonna head straight into the caves. There is one thing we're looking for in the caves, and we are on a time crunch because we need to be back before day 20. Because on day 21, something very magical happens. So after running through the caves, not finding what I was looking for a straight 13 minutes, I finally found what I was looking for. The ruins. Now you can determine the entrance to the ruins because there's lots of monkeys around it, and there's that statue that indicates you're on the right track. Now in the ruins, there are a lot of magical equipment. There's one piece of magical equipment that we're specifically interested in called the Magiluminescence. It gives off light and it makes you move faster, but it takes up your body slot, which means I can't use a backpack. Among other items like better armor and stuff. There is also a boss down here, but we're not doing it yet. So after very carelessly running through all of the enemies that I saw, flawlessly dodging all of their attacks, I found what I was looking for. Some nice Thulecite. Now this weird rock metal stuff you need to make like every piece of magical equipment down here other than magical staffs. Now next I found a pseudo science station, which is basically the science machine of the underground to make all of the magical equipment. And so the broken version of the station, you can only build some of the stuff, not all of the stuff. So I built 1 Magiluminescence, and I continued exploring. These little monkeys, they like to steal items, so I baited him with a light bulb and then swiftly slaughtered him. Here you can see the edge of my screen turn kind of red. Now if you look at my sanity bar, which is the orange one, I am very insane, meaning my sanity is running low. When you're insane, all that happens is shadow creatures will spawn and aggro you, and they'll try to kill you. Fortunately, these enemies aren't super strong and they're quite easy to dodge. So if you're comfortable with fighting, you could just ignore the sanity bar and it will restore itself. After further exploration, I gave up trying to find the pseudoscience station that is already fully repaired. So instead, I just fully repaired this broken one, and we're going to craft everything we need at this station right here. So after crafting what I need, I have 2 Starcaller staves, 1 deconstruction staff, 1 Thulecite body, and 3 Thulecite crowns. And I'm going to leave all of the gems here because these gems can only be used in crafting recipes down here. Or some of them. Now on the way out of the caves, I find a bunny village that is looking far too peaceful. So I once again haven't paid rent, and I destroy 4 of the hutches. And I kill the inhabitants, of course, we can't let them live. Now that I've returned to my beautiful base, we're gonna use those supplies we got from killing those 4 hutches, or from breaking them, and build 2 of our very own rabbit hutches. So you know those pesky bats that spawn in the evening time from that cave entrance? The bunny men will come out at the same time as the bats, and they'll kill each other, meaning free stuff for me. Now since it's day 18, so I came back from the ruins very early. I'm going to set up this scaled furnace. We got this from Dragonfly. After we killed Dragonfly, he dropped a blueprint which meant we can craft this. And this item is really good. It gives you infinite heat, but in a short radius around it. So if you're close to it, you'll always be nice and warm. Now that I have some time to kill before day 21, I use that time to dig up a bunch of saplings and grass tufts. I build a nice farm plot so I can grow fruits and vegetables later if I need. I abuse Chester, backstab my bodyguards. I till the fields ready to plant some seeds. And hey, look, free stuff from the Bat and Bunnyman War. I craft a magical staff of ice that we're going to use very soon, and then I dig up some turf around the base to help give it some structure. Then off I tread into the wilderness, and all of a sudden it's day 21. The world looks slightly bluer, and that is because, ladies and gentlemen, it is winter. In this game, there are seasons, and we have just entered the 2nd season, being winter, and the first one was autumn. In winter, there's a very good mob that spawns. Ah, there he is. We're going to absolutely embarrass him by freezing him so that he doesn't attack me, and then just slaughtering him. So normally that means So normally that enemy has a range attack, which is pretty hard to dodge, so idea is you freeze him so you can just kill him very easily. Kill his guard dogs because they are pathetic, and big mighty Wolfgang wins once again. Now luckily for me, in this world I got a biome which has 3 of these guys. So the reason why we're killing these guys is because they have a very good drop that you can craft into a speed buffing item, and speed in this game is kind of everything. If you have lots of speed, you can basically dodge everything. Said speed item only has a 25% chance to drop, but luckily, after killing 4 Mactusks, we did indeed get the speed item we needed, and we're just going to use a blow dart to quickly kill his child for the meat. What is this? The moon is completely gone? Well, that must mean shadows are here to play. So on day 21, it is a new moon, meaning the moon is completely not visible. And on this night, we're going to fight one of the big bad bosses. I actually forgot to put these rocks on these statues, but it's fine, I'm doing it now. And so this boss fight consists of 3 separate bosses, but they all fight as one unit. And so we're going to mine them to release them from their statue in prison. First, we're going to kill the knight, because he's the easiest to kill first and the hardest to kill last. As you can see, we killed the knight. Oh no, the other 2 leveled up and became more powerful. This is fine, I have planned for this, I swear. So next we have a rook and a bishop. The bishop hits lots of times but small damage. The rook does 1 big hit, which is very easy to dodge, as you can see. So we're going to leave the rook till last. Oh goodness, Chester got hit. The bishop has perished, so now the level 3 rook has come out to play. Now this level 3 rook is really big, meaning his hitbox is huge. So that is why we need lots of speed bonuses to dodge his attacks. But since we have so many speed bonuses, I didn't need to eat any food, so let's just speed run through this fight. And the level 3 rook has been defeated. Why did we kill this boss? Well, because we're killing all the bosses. But also, see that heart pumping on the floor there? We need that to actually spawn another boss later on in the run. So we'll keep that safe. Oh, I've been jump scared by some penguins. We're not going to slaughter them because penguins are actually really good at killing you. Look, whenever penguins spawn, they always spawn some ice glaciers, which will give you some ice, which is very good food for putting in the crock pot. Now, we don't actually have a lot of things to do until day 30. I'm spam chopping a bunch of dead trees, and that is because every time you chop down a tree, you have a 1.3% chance of spawning, well, there it is. Good example. A tree guard. And you know those logs that I said that were very good earlier on in the run? Yeah, these guys dropped 6 of them, so you're damn right I'm going to be killing a bunch of them. With my newfound living logs, we're going to create a nice tier 2 magic machine, and so this sack spawns a boss, and it spawned right next to my base. To forget about that situation, I'm going to plant a bunch of trees to make the Lorax happy. And these pine cones I got from chopping down all of those dead trees. So, you know, I didn't devastate the forests, I'm just planting new ones. And we will not be chopping down these trees ourselves. We will chop these down, well, you'll find out later how we're going to chop these down. After being jump scared by a Mactusk, I headed to the desert to get some bone shards, which we'll need later, and then what the heck? 2 random hounds, 3 random hounds. Yeah, so in this game there's periodic wave hounds, so every usually 5 to 8 days or so, a big wave of hounds will come to attack you no matter where you are, unless you're in the caves, so you have to always keep your guard up. And then what is this? Some nice goats. Well, these could be my pets. Or they could be my dinner. So yeah, we're going to slaughter all but one of the goats, because as everyone knows, as long as you have one animal, then it can reproduce, because everything is like a snail, they're all hermaphrodites. So the reason we're slaughtering these goats is because they have a unique drop, which is a 25% chance to drop, called a Volt Goat Horn. And we're gonna need like 4 to 6 of these, or maybe even more. And so, you know, that's a lot of goats we need to slaughter. Please ignore my just horrific kiting skills. I got hit so many times by these goats. After returning to my beautiful base, I found that some of the plants that I planted earlier had fully grown. So I picked them for some fresh pumpkin, potatoes, and carrots. And next, remember that sack that spawned next to my base? Well, I need to find some deer to steal their antlers so I can plug it into the sack to spawn the boss. But those deer can spawn in one of 3 biomes. So, you know, I might have to search all of these biomes. You know, it might take a while. Like, that was fast. But literally, I took step into the first biome they could have spawned in, and I found them immediately. So I was kind of lucky. So we're going to steal 1 or 2 of those antlers, and we will use that to fight the next boss. I mean, if you're just going to stand there and let me kill you, I'm not going to pass up some free meat. So the next boss is like a demon Santa Claus looking little boy. After getting rid of the pesky shadow creature, I start the boss fight. So if you try to enter his sack, it makes him angry and he spawns. Now you can see he is accompanied by 2 deer with gems socketed into their head. And oh, what's happening here? here. The one with the red gem, unsurprisingly, makes fire appear on the floor. Guess what the blue one does? The blue one makes ice appear on the floor. Both of the attacks are pretty bad. You need to dodge them. The fire one sets you on fire and makes you overheat, meaning you take more damage. The ice one freezes you, meaning you take freezing damage and you're left frozen in place, so he gets a free hit on you. But Klaus himself is quite easy to dodge. You just have to step back when he does his 2 swipes. And while he's doing his casting animation, I do a lot of hits and dodge at the last second so that the magic spell appears where I used to be, not where I'm going. And now, because he is a weak baby man, he spawns in 2 baby demon Santa people to try kill me while he's giggling. And now for the rest of the fight, it's the same. And he's dead. Easy fight. There, go check on my tree. Wait, what's that noise? Oh goodness, he's alive! And he has a new attack. So, this is the second phase of Klaus. He has a terrifying new attack where he screams and jumps at you across the screen. Now, luckily for me, once again, I have a lot of speed bonuses so that I can dodge that attack. But that attack is pretty tough to dodge without speed bonuses. Otherwise, the fight is the same. He jumps at you and tries to bite, and he'll occasionally scream. But yeah, otherwise the fight is the same. Santa Claus has been slain for this year, and now I get the actual like deer antler stag thing that I need to open the sack. Now, what is in the sack? 4 bundled up supplies. So basically 4 presents. These pesky nightmare creatures, right, take care of them. Alright, now let's open up these 4 presents. So 2 of these presents will always drop charcoal and gold. Maybe a life-giving amulet, which can revive you, but I don't die. And then 1 can drop boss loot, random boss loot, and that's what that one was, but wasn't too helpful. And the last one could drop the best backpack in the game. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. And it's the best backpack just because it has like a bunch of inventory slots. Now, for a fire safety precaution, I built an ice flinger mag, which throws ice at fire, so that my base is now fireproof. And I planted all of the saplings and grass tufts that I dug up earlier, and then I went mining, because we're going to need a lot of rocks later. Then I came back to my base to find that my plants had somehow grown into giants. So when you farm in this game, you have a chance that your plants will grow into giants if you keep them particularly happy. Or not a chance, it's guaranteed if you take care of them properly. But hey, that was nice, and I got lots of extra food. Then I was just, you know, peacefully farming into the night, then... Wait, did you hear that? Something's growling in the distance. I should probably get away from my base. Holy guacamole, what is that over in the distance? It almost looks like a Cyclops with deer antlers. This is the first seasonal boss that you're going to encounter in this game. Every season has a boss that will spawn and come for you in the season. And Deerclops is the winter seasonal boss. So I could kill him straight away, but let's use him as a lumberjack first. So all of those trees I planted, I'm going to have him walk over the top of them. And because he's a big bad boss, he destroys them as soon as he walks top of them. So, you know, that's some easy wood chopping right there. As for the boss fight itself, Deerclops is actually the weakest boss in the game, or one of the weakest bosses in the game. He has not a lot of health compared to the bosses that I've already killed. Deerclops only has 4,000 health, whereas Dragonfly had 27,500. And he has no special effects. He just attacks and then attacks. And the pathetic Deerclops has fallen, and now he does drop a unique drop, being the Deerclops eyeball, which we will save for later. Now next I'm going to build a bunch of chests from all of those logs that Deerclops got for me. And while I was collecting all the logs, I did some farming, and I'm going to bundle up those vegetables for later. Then we're going to build a crucial piece of equipment, being a lightning rod, because soon lightning will hail down upon us. And we're just going to dig up some turf to make the base look slightly prettier. And then day 36, oh, it started raining. That must mean it's spring. So in spring, it's basically autumn, except it rains occasionally. Now, if you don't have any rain protection, then you will get wet, and getting wet means you get cold, which means you start freezing and taking damage, and you go insane. And if it starts raining heavily, lightning can happen, which means you can get struck by lightning. Luckily, Deerclops' eyeball crafted this hat, which protects me from all of those things. But also, there is a different seasonal boss. Oh goodness, there it is. A surprise moose goose at the bottom left of my base. Since he was too close to my base, I slaughtered him. Now his attack pattern is you attack 3 or 4 times depending how fast you can move, and then you run away. And then he has one unique attack where he honks and it makes you drop whatever weapon you have equipped. But then he's dead easy. And next I slaughtered its children, because its children have the same drops as the moose goose but in less quantity, but they also have like 10 times less health. So they're basically a lot easier to kill. They're a lot more time efficient. The moose goose has 6,000 health, and the babies have 525 health, but that's not all. Throughout the entire map, multiple moose goose reside. So next I went around the map and slaughtered every single moose goose and all of their babies. Now here, this mother had 8 babies, and I had no armor, so this is quite the risky fight, but you know, I did it anyway. After that, I decided to go on a quick trip on my boat. Oh my god, Zeus has struck down upon me and set my boat on fire. Not only that, but I came back and it had been completely destroyed. Next, I welded the power of lightning myself and electrified some of these goats. Now, when you kill these goats when they're in this electric form, they drop some goat milk, and you can use that to make ice cream, and ice cream is one of the best sanity foods in the game, which we'll need for a boss fight soon. Then I went underground and killed lots of spiders and stole their home. That is because their homes contain fossils, which again, we'll need to spawn one of the big bad bosses. Next, I went around the map slapping these big tentacles because they effectively work as wormholes that take you to a random part of the caves. But this one took me to the boss room of basically the final boss. But we're not ready for him yet, so we're going to leave this area. But we'll mark it on the map so that you remember where it is. Now here I'm crafting some stuff for one of the fights we're going to do soon. So there's a nightmare amulet I just made that forces you to be insane. A weather pane fires out a tornado, which is very helpful for the next fight. And dark swords are the best weapons in the game, so we want the best weaponry. Day 51 is closing in, so we're going to prepare some walls because see this rock in the middle of all these walls I'm building? We need to defend that from some creatures pretty soon on the night of day 51. The night of day 51 is a full moon after all. Then I went mining and I found a moose goose that I hadn't found and killed, so you know what time it is? Chicky nuggies time. Oh, would you look at the time? Day 51. So I'm going to place a staff inside that special rock, and what's happening? The moon is beaming some energy into my staff. So what's happening right now is my staff is being transformed, but I have to defend the staff while it's transforming from all of these moon hounds and werepigs. Now, because I built up walls and fossils, it's actually blocking them from getting to the moonstone, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get to the moonstone and break it to stop the little upgrade ritual. So yeah, so I'm blocking them from doing that. I also forgot to upgrade Chester on day 31. If you load him up with 9 nightmare fuel, he turns into Shadow Chester. All it means he has more inventory spaces, which would have been nice earlier. Anyway, the event is complete, but these gosh darn hounds turns into moon rocks, so we have to get them out of the way. And then we get to the staff, pick it out, and we will need this for later. But for now, it's basically a Starcaller staff, but the opposite. Instead of summoning a star, which warms you up, it summons like a moon, which cools you down, which is good for the next season coming up soon. Then I headed into the caves, and what is this? A big rhino looking boy? So here's the next boss that we have to kill. He's actually kind of easy. There is a way to kind of kill this guy super easily. You can see how he runs towards you. He hits really hard, but he's very easy to dodge. But what you can do is you can get him stuck on an indestructible object and then just carry on hitting him without dodging. But that sounds like cheating to me. So instead, I killed him legit. So after he finishes his charge, I hit him 3 times. Then I step back before he melees me, and then I hit 2 more times. And then a bunch of spiders jump on my kill. So I let him kill the spiders, and then the fight goes on as normal. Now, unfortunately, I killed him too close to the edge of the map, so his unique drop actually fell off the map and disappeared. Luckily for me, his unique drop isn't what we actually need. It's not absolutely essential for the run, so we'll ignore that. Otherwise, he gave us a chest with randomized ruins loot, but you get 100% chance of getting an ancient key. This is essential. We need this item to spawn the next boss, among a lot of other things. After getting all the necessary items, we headed back to that final boss area that I talked about earlier. Now, this boss fight I'm going to play in its entirety because it is a boss fight where there's action happening all the time. There's no boring parts, and it's also one of the hardest bosses in the game, if not the hardest. I will briefly go over all of this boss's attacks before I let the boss play without interruption. So first of all, he has a normal attack where he just swipes you with his skull. He has a bone cage attack which immobilizes you because it traps you in a cage of bones. And you'll notice I'm wearing a staff. This staff was an upgraded version of the walking cane, so now that I can teleport with it, but I can only teleport with it 20 times. And he can summon bones from the ceiling. Now that's just phase 1. When you hit phase 2, lots more attacks happen. So he can make himself invincible, and to stop him from being invincible, I have to go insane and to kill some shadow hands that appear at the edge of the arena, and there will be up to 60. But if I stay insane for too long, Ancient Fuelweaver can mind control me, which completely immobilizes me for a lot of seconds. And he can heal for a ludicrous amount of health. He can fully heal himself in like 10 seconds if I mess up. So he spawns a bunch of minions, and if one of these minions make it to Fuelweaver, he will eat them, causing him to heal for 400 health. For contrast, one of my hits deals about 100 damage, and he spawns up to like 10 or 20 of these healers, so yeah, I can't let him eat any. With that being said, here's the Ancient Fuelweaver fight in its entirety. Kaboom! Now there are two what I would consider actually tough bosses in this game, and that was one of them. The other tough boss is it's coming up, but not yet. Anyway, this guy drops a helmet that makes you go insane, but it also makes shadow creatures not aggro onto you, so they're passive, but you can still attack them. And bone armor, which negates 1 instance of damage every 5 seconds. So you'll see me utilize that against a few bosses from now on. Oh goodness, I come back to the surface and it's so hot and bright. That is because it is now summer. Summer is the 4th and final season of Don't Starve Together, and expectedly in summer it's the opposite of winter. You get hot, you can overheat. Everything in the world could potentially catch fire, and that's why earlier I built that ice fling-o-matic in the middle of my base, so if anything in my base catches fire, that'll put it out. Otherwise, I just have to stay cool, which is quite simple with that staff I got earlier. What the heck is that? It looks like a lion, but it also looks like an ant. It must be Antlion. So Antlion is the summer boss. He actually sits in the desert with the goats in it, and during the summer, this desert is covered in a sandstorm, which makes you move slower. So I'm about to do this boss with a limited movement speed, so it's not ideal. Now this boss is kind of a meme. He's kind of the easiest boss in the entire game because he's stationary, and so I feed him a cold thermal stone so he is frozen, and then we start killing. He traps you inside of his arena with a bunch of sandcastles, and then he summons sand spikes from below you, which actually hit really hard, but you can very easily dodge them. Just like if you move ever so slightly, you probably dodge them. I say that then immediately get hit by a sand spike. But anyway, there's not much more to this fight other than the longer the fight goes on, the faster he attacks. Well, now that he's dead, none of his drops are actually very useful, at least to me in this run, so we killed him just for the sake of it, not because we wanted any of his drops. Now next we have a checklist. We need 11 cactus flowers, 10 marble, 10 butterflies, a flower salad, and off I went onto the ocean. Then I found a bottle. This bottle told me where to find the crab lady, and we found the crab lady's island. Fortunately, she was asleep, so I did tasks for her while she was sleeping. And bam, there she is. A good night's sleep, I hope. Now, it looks like I need 10 cookie cutter shells to build her first stage of her house. So before that, I planted some butterflies, gave her a flower salad, planted 8 berry bushes, and was on my way to find some cookie cutter shells. And I sailed. And I sailed. And I accidentally found where one of the bosses I need to kill can spawn, so I will come back there later. Then I explored so far that I found the edge of the map, but I finally found the cookie cutters, and I was sailing for 6 days straight. 1 day in this game is 8 minutes, which meant I was sailing for 48 minutes straight. Now I showed those cookie cutters who's boss for days, until I finally got 10 cookie cutter shells, which only have like a 25% chance to drop. Oh, and by the way, that took so long that now it's autumn again. So one default year in Don't Starve Together is 70 days long. So day 71 is autumn again. Yay, no more overheating from summer. Now we're finishing off this girl's house so that she'll maybe like me just a little bit more. Then I'm peacing out back to the mainland and we'll come back to Crab Island during winter. Now we're going to deconstruct this Mooncaller staff to get the gem that's inside of it. This is the only way you can get this gem. It looks like a diamond, but I think it's actually an opal, but it's called an iridescent gem. Now we're heading into the caves. Oh look, a spooky mushroom biome, very cool. We've got our way blocked by some ronks, so let's just mine those out of the way. And look at this, we found the archives. And hey, this pedestal looks like it could use a gem socketed in there, so let's put it in and see what happens. Well, that noise was us starting World War III out in that mushroom biome. Next, I click on all of these machines so they poop out some knowledge. Then this stupid centipede keeps attacking me, so I'm gonna heck and slaughter it. Stay dead. Alright. Now we're going to unlock these forgotten knowledges by doing a quick puzzle. Well, it's not quick, and it's not a puzzle, it's actually a memory game. But there we go. Now we actually only needed to unlock one of these forgotten knowledges, not all 3, but I did all 3 anyway. Each of these forgotten knowledges gives you 1 blueprint, and the blueprint that we want is called an astral detector, which we need to find pieces of an altar to spawn the very, very last boss. Oh goodness, so now there's nightmare creatures spawning in this mushroom biome. But it's okay, because the moon version of the nightmare creatures are attacking normal nightmare creatures. Then as soon as I come out of the caves, I'm greeted with a roar. And who is it? Bearger, of course. So Bearger, he doesn't appear in your first autumn, but in your second autumn, he is the autumn seasonal boss. You might call this cheating, but I'm not gonna kill Bearger myself. Bearger is very good at chopping trees because he has a very big hitbox, and when he runs, he knocks down lots of trees, which angers the Lorax. So I think 5 or 6 Loraxes spawn, and Bearger succumbs to the forest. Deforestation results in death, so I finish off the Lorax so I can get some free living logs and then head back to the crab. Because it is raining and that means she's getting wet, and that means we need to give her an umbrella so that she will like us a little bit more. So let's stay outside of the house and listen to some spooky music. Hand her our umbrella, and then let's just go for some sailing, and oops, I've committed Titanic. And then I'm going to commit Titanic, and rather than fixing the problem, we're just going to abandon ship. Now we're going to have Chester take refuge on the Lunar Island while we go and defeat the next boss. So remember that boss I could spawn from this fishing shoal? So I just need to fish... okay, so that's kind of rare. Sometimes this boss has the chance to just spawn, but the way you're meant to spawn her is you have a 10% chance to spawn her every time you catch a fish from this shoal. But hey, we didn't have to fish because she was here. So here we're going to utilize the bone armor, switch between the bone armor and normal armor to block a lot of damage. And whenever she flies away, we're just using the ice staff to get her aggro, not to actually freeze her. Now this boss fight is very fast because she only has like 5,000 health. And then when she's nearly dead, she does this dash, and dashes across, does a lot of damage, and if you had sails on your boat, she would break your sails. Luckily for me, I do not have any sails. And just like that, a very fast boss fight. The only hard part of that boss is finding her, but I got kind of lucky. Now this boss does have quite a few good drops, none of which I'm going to use in this run, but I'm not wasteful, so I'm going to pick up all the drops. So now we're heading to the Lunar Island, where there are other altar pieces that need mining out, so I help them by freeing them. I need a spot on this island where there's 3 celestial fishes in a triangle, like right here. So I'm marking it with the science machine, then heading back to the mainland. Oh, I popped a hole in another ship. Gosh darn it. Well, again, we're going to abandon ship. Remember that blueprint I was talking about, astral detector? We're going to make one of these bad boys. So this is going to point towards some altar pieces that are hidden underground. So all I have to do is follow the arrows. And after a lot of arrow pointing, if you get the right spot, it will dig up one of the altar pieces. Now luckily, there's only 2 altar pieces that you can find this way, so I only have to do this one more time. Now I hammered the astral detector here so that I can get the resources back so that I can build another one, since one astral detector only has 10 uses. And bam, there's the second piece found. Now, you remember how I transported those heavy statue pieces before? Yeah, I used a beefalo. Remember where I left that beefalo? Next to Dragonfly. Now, I went back to the Dragonfly, I couldn't find the beefalo, only the saddle, and the wreckage of my last boat. So I went to the savannah, where I only found a baby beefalo with no parents. So I continued exploring and I found 2 struggling parents with, how many is that? 6 baby beefalo. So I did them a favor and stole one of the parents. Now I will utilize this beefalo much like I used the other one by moving pieces, except this time I have to move 5 pieces. And all these pieces I need to move to where I put the science machine on the Lunar Island. Yo, we're leaving a soldier behind. One of the baby beefalo followed this parent all the way, and so we're gonna have to abandon him on this side of the lake. Now we need 3 complete altars in total. We have 5 pieces which equate to 2 of the altars. So once we socket them in place, a little something magical happens. You'll see a little line appears between them. Wow. So now we have one last hole to fill. Right, anyway, where is this last altar hiding? Well, we can use the astral detector to find that out. But first, we're heading back to the ruins because for one of the next boss fights, we're going to need a lot of armor. And hey, you know how I talked about I couldn't find that station that was already fully repaired? I just found it, but it's kind of useless now because I already repaired another one. And so all these statues and creatures are here again because once you kill Fuelweaver, everything in the ruins respawns. Well, mostly everything, like statues and all of the monsters, including my old friend the Ancient Guardian. It's my old friend the Rhino Boy. We're gonna kill him again because he has good drops. And I'm gonna skip through the fight because we've already seen it, but what's funny is I ran out of Dark Swords, or was close to running out of Dark Dark Swords, so I had to use a spear to finish him off. Or I used a spear for most of the fight. And hey, we got some full sight from him, so we can make some more armor. So I finished off my crafting and left, while all the monkeys were turned into shadow monkeys, which are very scary. So we're going to use the Astral Detector, and it's pointing to the west. So I'm predicting that the next boss is over there. And oh, look at that, it's snowing because it's winter. So let's head back to the Crab Island, give her a nice warm vest, and bam, we are now best friends with her. We are such good friends with her that she gave us a pearl. Now this pearl is essential for this run. If you don't have the pearl, you can't do this. Now here is the place I predicted the next boss to be, and there he is. Currently he's passive. He is the Crab King. Now this guy is basically equivalent to the Fuelweaver, but he's on the sea. Some don't like this boss because if you mess up in Ancient Fuelweaver's fight, you get set back a bit. He might heal. Whereas if you mess up in this fight, you have to restart the entire fight. And I swiftly leave because I'm not prepared for the fight and a shark is following me. After accidentally eating 2 raw cactus, then cooking some cactus, and then accidentally nearly setting my boat on fire, and then finishing off cooking all of the cactus, I am finally ready for the Crab King boss fight. Again, before the fight begins, I'm going to explain his attacks very briefly so that you understand what's happening, so I'm going to play this fight in its entirety. So the catch with this fight is that you can basically buff him how you want. You have to socket 9 gems into him, one of which is going to be the Pearl, because without the Pearl he won't drop the drop we need, which is the final altar. Now every type of gem buffs him in a different way. The attack that the purple gems buff, we're going to be cancelling that attack anyway, whether we buffed that attack or not. Speaking of that attack, it's his most common attack. It's a geyser attack. He will summon geysers behind or under all of my ships and try to poke like up to 20 holes, which means your boat leaks and eventually will break, and that means you sink, and that means you have to restart the fight. So to cancel this attack, we're going to use ice staffs to freeze the Crab King. That's simple, but that'll happen throughout the fight. His next very common attack is one where he summons 6 claws in a hexagon shape around him, and these claws will clamp onto your boat and slowly damage your boat over time. Now, you have to get rid of these claws because otherwise they'll damage your boat too much, and again, it will break your boat, causing you to sink, meaning you have to restart the fight. Now, since he spawns his claws in a hexagon shape, there is a position I can position my boat so that only 2 claws will ever clamp onto my boat. This is crucial because it means I only have to deal with 2 claws and not 3, so I'll be positioning my boat throughout the fight. You'll notice that the Crab King's attacks don't actually do damage to you, except this next one. This next attack is the freezing attack, where he'll freeze everything around you, and the way to avoid it is I just have to run away and wear a beefalo hat, which keeps me nice and insulated so I don't get cold and start taking freezing damage. Now the most devastating attack is not an attack. The Crab King can heal himself for 750 like every second or 2. He does this by lifting up rocks and repairing his shell. The only way to cancel this is to hit him more than 2 times per second to break the rock before he can repair his shell and therefore heal for 750 health. That is why I've brought along some weather panes, because weather panes hit a lot of times but they do very low damage. So I'm going to be using that to break his rocks to stop him from healing, because me just hitting him with a dark sword won't be enough to cancel his rocks all of the time. In the inventory, the only notable things are, of course, the ice staffs, the weather pane, my weapons, and boat patches. He will be damaging my boat over the course of the fight, and boat patches are just the best way to repair your boat. And I have food, so I can stay at maximum hunger, so that I have 2 times damage throughout the entire fight. But before I start the fight, a Goldstein shark comes out of nowhere and ambushes me, so let's just take care of that. With that being said, I'm going to let the Crab King fight play out in its entirety. goodness, finally. I was about to say he needs to die soon because I was running out of reason. Woo, we did it, yeet. Alright, I'm happy with that. That was kind of clean. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of clean. Sick. Look at all this meat. I'm good, man. My heart is kind of pounding though because I hate Crab King. He's like the only boss fight where I'm still nervous doing it because it's so awful. Live commentary, Jakey said it all. It's like going up against Jad on old school RuneScape for the first time. You're very nervous. It's the only boss fight in this game that still makes me nervous because one slip up throws the entire fight away. You see that blue thing floating in the ocean there? Like in the middle where Crab King died? I need a pinch and winch to grab that thing because that is the last altar piece. Which we need for the very, very last boss. And so I skedaddle out of there, go to Pearl, buy the blueprint for the pinch and winch, give her the cracked pearl, and that makes her very sad because it turns out the crabby lady right here used to date the Crab King, but he was corrupted by the moon probably. So now she's sad. But now we have achieved friendship with the crabby lady, so it's fine. So I pre-crafted the pinch and winch, went back to where I killed Crab King, picked up the altar, and then transferred the altar to the Lunar Island, where I found my beefalo that I had abandoned there, but luckily gaining his friendship back was as easy as giving him 4 twigs. Now I'm just gonna be quiet as I socket the last altar and something magical happens. Whoa, what the heck? An eye just opened up where the moon used to be. So if you look at the day counter, now the moon has opened its eye. It recognizes that we're trying to steal its power of some sort. So it's keeping an eye on us, literally, it's watching us, whatever it is. And you'll notice, rather than nighttime, now we have a full moon every single night, and this will continue until we fight the final boss. And then as soon as I get back to my base to take a little rest, we hear the familiar growl of Deerclops, so we quickly just dispatch him real quick. What a pest, am I right? And now, since we made the moon angry, there are random lunar storms all over the map. Or, well, they appear in parts of the map. Now, as you can see, I move extremely slowly inside of the area, so I need to make some astragals, which require a potato. So I plant some potato seeds, and then I head back into the storm to farm some materials. Some of the materials spoil in 30 seconds, meaning we have to bundle them up, otherwise they will disappear. And by the time I've collected all the materials we need, then my potatoes have grown, so time to make astragals and do the event inside the moonstorm. Oh my goodness, who is this? That couldn't be Wagstaff, don't starve. Without going too much detail into the lore, Wagstaff is a very lore bound character, but anyway, he's here and he wants us to help him with his science experiment, and we need to do this 3 times to get all the materials we need to summon the last boss. Now, unsurprisingly, soloing this guy's event is actually pretty hard when you're soloing because you're constantly getting hit by little birds that are trying to hit his experiment, and if they hit the experiment too much, that means you fail the experiment and you have to start again. Meanwhile, Wagstaff will ask you for random tools. I say random because they all have the wrong names, and he'll ask for something, but you don't know what he's actually asking for. But anyway, the first try we failed, of course, because all of my bunnies died. So I recruited back up. When I say recruited back up, I mean I went and pillaged the rest of the bunny village downstairs. And with my newfound armored up bunny army, I completed the second attempt no problem. So only gotta do it 2 more times. But then this happened. He took my and then immediately. Oh, frog rain. Oh no. Oh. Oh, a frog just fell from the sky. Oh no. Oh, and things are on fire. And I've been hit by a frog. Oh, and I got hit again. Bunnies, just distract the frogs. Yes, good bunnies. Yes, right, the bunnies are gonna die. Oh, what a mess. This is like the definition of don't starve. Just everything goes wrong. And I'm getting hit by everything. Can you just stop? Just oh my goodness. Okay, this is a lost cause. This is hell on earth. All my bunnies are dead. So if you haven't noticed, it is spring, and during spring, when it heavily rains, there's a chance that frog rain can happen, which is exactly how it sounds. Lots and lots of frogs fall from the sky until the rain stops being heavy. And as I completed my 3rd and final event, the frogs started raining again. So anyway, I let the frogs kill another moose goose, and I looted up all of the meat. And man, this frog rain took forever to stop, to the point that all of my fridges were full of meat. I had so much meat, even my bunny bodyguards couldn't escape the wrath of the frog. After that, we skedaddled back to the Lunar Island, built the incomplete science experiment, then started assembling the Lunar Siphonator. So we're gonna siphon out all of the Lunar's power, all of the moon's power. So this is where we needed all of those materials. So there's the first stage, and then we got to build the second stage, and then something's gonna happen. And that there is the Celestial Champion. Whatever the moon is, it sent him to protect the moon's power from being siphoned. This is the final boss we've been leading up to. But first, I'm not quite ready for the fight, so we're just going to go to Chester. And we can do this because the Celestial Champion kind of just, he doesn't despawn and he'll just wander around attacking anything. If you move too far away, he'll eventually just de-aggro. Anyway, so once I was ready for the fight began. Now, I'm not going to explain any of this guy's attacks because all of his attacks are very basic. He's a very good boss in that all of his attacks hit extremely hard, but they're all very dodgeable. You can dodge all of them. So we're just going to play this fight sped up. Hey, and we got him. Easy boss. Am I right, lads? Alright, well, where's the loot? Come on, cough it up. Cough up the loot. Wait, what? What the heck is this? Is this phase 2? So now I'm going to describe phase 2's attacks, because this guy can extremely easily kill you even through full sight helmets. So his most devastating attack is his Buzzsaw attack, where he spins around and hits for 100 damage every single spin. So that can be hundreds and hundreds of damage if you don't have enough speed bonus to outrun him, which I do, so it's fine. And he has a basic attack where he'll just hit you and you can dodge it, though you have to dodge very quickly. Then he has another attack where he slams the floor 3 times and summons 3 waves of Gestalt, which will hit very hard, but it's quite easy to dodge. You can move between them. And a last attack where he stabs the ground, causing damage, and then makes walls appear, which you kind of need to stay away from, because if he does his Buzzsaw attack and you get stuck on those walls, then you're going to be in trouble. Him off with an assist from a Salamander. What a nice little lizard. Look at him waddling back to his pond. Celestial Champion, what are you doing? Do I need to mine you to break you or something? Not again. Oh goodness, this must be the final phase. Phase 3. Again, he has lots of different attacks, and this one can even more easily kill you than the last one. So as you can see, he summons these pillars. If I stay next to those pillars, it makes my character sleepy and eventually will put me to sleep if I stay too close to them for too long. So what I should have done is bring a weather pane to break those pillars from a distance, but I didn't. Nice. And he has another attack where it's just a basic melee attack. He plunges himself into the floor and does some damage if you don't move. And his laser attacks. His laser attacks do a ludicrous amount of damage and they hit you multiple times. So if you don't have armor, you'll get absolutely shredded. Or if your armor breaks, you will get shredded. And if you make the grave mistake of staying right in front of him as he shoots out his 3 lasers, every single laser will hit you twice, which is about 600 damage or so. And his last attack, he plunges into the floor, which I get caught in right there. He plunges into the floor and tons of Gestalts will come out and attack you. Luckily, my crown protects me. I did go to sleep, but yeah, I could have died there if I didn't have full sight crowns. Also, yes, this is the fight where I have to eat Glommer's poop to keep my sanity down, otherwise I can get put to sleep very easily. The Celestial Champion de-aggroes from me and gets on Chester and gets a really big hit on him, so Chester is pretty close to death right now. Oh, look at those Gestalts chasing me, and oh, they targeted Chester again. So Chester got obliterated and he dropped everything. Not to be wasteful, of course, I turn off the lantern not to waste its fuel. Now here I pick up my living logs in because I'm kind of scared that one of his laser attacks like that is going to destroy my items. When the Celestial Champion spawns, he destroys every item on the ground around him, including dark swords. Is that it? Is he finally dead? Wait, who's this? It's Wagstaff with the Lunar Siphonator. After all that, Wagstaff steals the power of the moon and disappears. Now, because we stole the power of the moon, now instead of it being a full moon for the entire day, this is now new day where there is no moon. Usually it's on day 1 and every 20 days after that, but now we've changed it. So now it's on day 118 and every 20 days after that. And that's it. That's the run done. Except it isn't, because I actually forgot one boss because I killed the bosses out of order. So we've killed the final boss, but you know, we actually missed this boss. This boss is right there. It's that little mushroom on the floor. And after some preparing, oh goodness, it turned into a massive frog. So here is Toadstool. He has 50,000 health, so he takes a lot of hits to kill, but his attacks are very basic. So he has one attack that you're seeing now, where he throws out some mushrooms that do big damage, but they take ages to explode, so you have a very long time to react. Then he has an attack which summons a spore bomb on top of you, and then after a short time it will explode, leaving a spore patch on the floor. If you get caught inside of this spore patch, it will deal with some damage and it will spoil food in your inventory. Though because I'm Wolfgang and I'm moving so fast that I'm in it for like a fraction of a second, so it barely spoils the meat that I'm holding, so I can still have food in my inventory. And now his next attack, he summons trees. Now I have weather panes to deal with these trees because you could chop these down, but that's very slow. Each one of these trees that Toadstool spawns, he gets more speed, more damage, he summons more mushroom bombs, and he gains armor, aka damage reduction, which is huge. He can gain a ridiculous amount of damage reduction, so the trees absolutely have to be taken care of so that I can do full damage. Otherwise, he's just a big damage sponge, so let's speed up the fight. Now here we see a new attack. We've got Toadstool to such low health that now he's desperate, and he does a ground pound attack where he jumps, and he does AoE damage all around him. It's quite predictable, all of his attacks are, so it's very easy to dodge. In fact, that's why I'm barely wearing armor. But just to be sure, I put on my Thulsite crown right here just in case, because I don't want to throw the run away by dying right at the end. There he is. Was that day 1, 2, 3? Get a timer on that. So I killed what? Every single boss in the game except Misery Toadstool, I guess. Misery Toadstool is the same boss as this, except he has 2 times the health. And now we dance. And then we laugh because it was so easy. So there it is, I said it, day 123, all of the bosses are dead. This is the quickest run I've done. I say that I've only done like 5 full boss runs, killing every single boss. But my next fastest one was day 141, which is significantly slower than this one. Leave a comment which was your favorite boss fight. And yeah, I've been editing this video for 3 days straight, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was entertaining to watch. If not, I hope it was at least educational. If you like to play this game, then I hope you learned something from it. Maybe you'll play a different way now. But yeah, I enjoy doing boss runs. Go follow me on Twitch. I do boss runs on there sometimes. And yeah, I worked very hard on this video. I hope you found it educational, entertaining, and yeah, thanks for watching. I appreciate it muchly. I'll see you in the next one.